High above the clouds, the private jet hummed softly, a floating palace of luxury and exclusivity. Plush leather seats, polished wood accents, and soft ambient lighting created an atmosphere where the world's most powerful and wealthy found comfort far beyond the reach of ordinary travelers. The quiet murmur of conversations and clinking glasses blended into the background as the flight glided smoothly toward its destination. Among the select few aboard was a woman who stood out, not through loud displays or ostentation, but through an undeniable aura of quiet confidence and grace. She was poised and composed, radiating a presence that commanded respect without demanding it. Her deep, thoughtful eyes scanned the cabin calmly, unbothered by the hum of activity around her. Dressed impeccably, she carried herself with the dignity of someone who had faced challenges and emerged stronger. Suddenly, the refined calm of the flight was shattered by an unthinkable moment. A flight attendant, perhaps overwhelmed or driven by prejudice, lost control of their temper and slapped her across the face. The shock rippled instantly through the cabin. Conversations ceased. Passengers turned toward the scene in disbelief. The woman's expression flickered for a brief second, not with anger, but with quiet resolve. What the attendants and passengers did not realize in that moment was the true identity of the woman they had so carelessly struck. She was no ordinary passenger. She was the billionaire owner of the very plane that cradled them in the skies, a woman who had built her empire from the ground up, shattering glass ceilings and defying stereotypes at every step. The realization of who she was would change everything in an instant. This incident would lay bare painful truths about power dynamics, racial bias, and respect in elite spaces. It would be a story about dignity in the face of disrespect, justice against prejudice, and the quiet strength of a woman who refused to be diminished. As the plane soared onward, so too did the journey toward accountability and change begin. Born into humble beginnings in a small town, she learned early on what it meant to face adversity. Growing up in a community where opportunities were scarce and expectations limited, she developed a fierce determination to carve out her own path. Her parents, hard-working and resilient, instilled in her the values of perseverance, education, and self-respect. She excelled academically, earning scholarships that took her to top universities where she studied business and economics, fields dominated largely by those unlike her. Her rise to billionaire status was not a stroke of luck, but a testament to relentless work ethic, sharp intellect, and strategic vision. Starting with a modest startup, she expanded into diverse industries, from technology to real estate, finance to media. Her leadership style was marked by inclusivity, innovation, and empowerment. She believed in uplifting others as she climbed, mentoring young entrepreneurs, particularly women and minorities, and advocating for greater diversity in corporate boardrooms. Philanthropy became a cornerstone of her legacy. She invested heavily in education, community development, and initiatives aimed at dismantling systemic inequality. Yet despite her success and influence, she was no stranger to bias and prejudice. Time and again, she encountered subtle, and sometimes blatant, discrimination, whether in board meetings, social circles, or even in the luxury spaces she frequented. These experiences fueled her commitment to standing firm on dignity and respect. Her choice to fly privately was deeply personal. Beyond comfort and convenience, it represented a space of control and privacy often denied to women of color in the public eye. The jet was not just a mode of transport but a sanctuary where she could strategize, recharge, and be herself without the scrutiny that followed her elsewhere. In this rarefied environment, the incident with the flight attendant was not just a breach of etiquette, it was an affront to everything she stood for. It challenged her core belief that respect is not a privilege for the few but a right for all. This moment, painful yet powerful, would become a catalyst for change, both personal and systemic. The private jet hummed quietly as it cruised above the clouds, its cabin filled with a hushed murmur of luxury travel. The atmosphere was one of calm exclusivity, where every detail was tailored to comfort and discretion. Among the passengers was a black woman who radiated quiet authority. Clad in an elegant yet understated outfit, she settled into her plush seat, her presence commanding without a word. She was used to being respected in every room she entered. This was her sanctuary. The flight attendant assigned to her was a younger woman, new to the crew, eager yet visibly tense. From the moment the billionaire's gaze met hers, there was an unmistakable edge in the attendant's demeanor, a subtle coldness masked by forced professionalism. As the flight progressed, the attendant's behavior grew increasingly dismissive. It began with small microaggressions. The flight attendant ignored her polite requests for a drink refill, quickly turning away to attend to other passengers. When asked about the menu options, she responded curtly, her tone bordering on impatience. These moments might have been overlooked in other contexts, but the woman noticed. The pattern was unmistakable. The dismissal wasn't about service errors. It was rooted in bias. When the billionaire asked for assistance with adjusting the seat settings, the flight attendant sighed audibly and muttered under her breath, again with the demands. A fellow passenger caught the comment and shot the attendant a disapproving glance, but the tension only grew. The atmosphere became palpably charged. The flight attendant's irritation was no longer subtle. It had turned hostile. She snapped at the woman when a drink was spilled accidentally, blaming her with a harshness that startled the cabin. The billionaire remained composed, responding with calm dignity, refusing to give the attendant the reaction she sought. Then, in a moment that stunned everyone aboard, the flight attendant's frustration boiled over. Without warning, she slapped the woman's arm, not hard, but enough to send a shockwave through the cabin. The slap was an unprovoked, deeply disrespectful act, an eruption of simmering prejudice. Gasps echoed around the cabin. The woman's eyes widened in disbelief, but she did not lash out. Instead, she drew a steadying breath, embodying grace under fire. Her voice, when she finally spoke, was firm yet controlled. That was unacceptable. Other passengers shifted uneasily. Some were frozen, unsure how to react. Others whispered amongst themselves, horrified at the blatant disrespect. A few brave souls stepped forward, offering words of support and demanding the attendant explain herself. The flight crew looked caught off guard, their usual polished professionalism faltering in the face of the raw tension. Throughout, the billionaire maintained her poise, refusing to be diminished or rattled. Her restraint was a powerful statement in itself, proof that true strength often lies in measured response, not retaliation. The incident left the cabin charged, the usual quiet luxury replaced by a tense awareness. For everyone present, the slap was a jarring reminder that even in spaces of power and privilege, racial bias can erupt violently. Yet the woman's dignified reaction planted a seed, one that would grow into accountability, justice, and respect. The stunned silence that followed the slap lingered in the cabin like a heavy fog. The flight attendant stood rigid, her face flushing with a mix of anger and embarrassment. Passengers exchanged uneasy glances, unsure how the situation would unfold. The woman who had just been slapped sat up straighter, her calm presence now radiating an unmistakable authority. With quiet, deliberate clarity, she spoke. "I own this plane." The words hung in the air, sharp and undeniable. A collective gasp rippled through the cabin. Eyes widened, jaws dropped. The flight attendant's expression shifted from defiance to disbelief, her bravado faltering as the reality sank in. Whispers erupted among the passengers and crew alike. This was no ordinary passenger. The very space she occupied, the lavish private jet, was under her ownership. The woman's gaze locked onto the flight attendant. "Your behavior was unacceptable. This slap, this attitude, it won't be tolerated. I expect a formal apology, and I want immediate disciplinary action." The flight attendant, now visibly shaken, stammered, struggling to find words. Some crew members began quietly conferring, while others waited for instructions. The woman's tone was firm but composed, leaving no room for evasion or denial. The airline's senior crew member, alerted by the disturbance and the owner's revelation, stepped forward. "We will address this incident immediately," he assured, nodding toward the attendant. "You will be reassigned pending further investigation." The flight attendant was swiftly removed from service for the remainder of the flight, escorted to a separate area under supervision. The weight of consequences was clear. Her actions had crossed a line that could not be ignored. In the cabin, the atmosphere shifted. Passengers who had been silent witnesses now whispered their admiration for the woman's poise and strength. Crew members, previously tense, now moved with renewed professionalism and respect. The incident, once a flashpoint of disrespect and bias, had turned into a powerful lesson in accountability. Throughout the remainder of the flight, the billionaire's quiet authority set the tone. Requests were met promptly and courteously. Fellow passengers, inspired by the woman's courage, engaged in hushed conversations about respect, power, and justice. The confrontation ended not with anger or bitterness, but with clear, unwavering leadership, an unmistakable message that dignity and respect are non-negotiable, no matter one's status or background. This incident shines a harsh light on the persistent issue of racial bias within luxury and service industries. Even in spaces designed to showcase exclusivity and high standards, deep-seated prejudices can surface, revealing uncomfortable truths about how Black women, regardless of their success or status, are often judged by appearances before their achievements or character are recognized. For successful Black women, the intersection of race, gender, and power complicates interactions in ways many cannot fully understand unless they've lived it. Despite reaching the pinnacle of wealth and influence, assumptions based on skin color and societal stereotypes can still trigger disrespect and microaggressions, even outright aggression, as seen in this incident. It's a reminder that success alone doesn't shield one from bias. In fact, it often challenges preconceived notions, provoking defensive or hostile reactions. This episode also exposes how dangerous it is to make snap judgments based on surface impressions. The flight attendant's actions stemmed from misreading the woman's place and identity, a costly and humiliating mistake. Such errors don't just degrade individuals. They undermine the integrity of service industries that rely on respect, trust, and professionalism. Accountability is crucial at every level. When individuals in positions of power or responsibility fail to act or worse, perpetuate discrimination, it sends a damaging message. Conversely, swift and transparent consequences, as demonstrated by the immediate disciplinary measures, can foster a culture where dignity is prioritized over prejudice. It's also a call to leadership to proactively address biases through training, awareness, and zero-tolerance policies. Ultimately, this story is about more than one slap or one woman's courage. It reflects a broader societal challenge, ensuring that respect and justice are not privileges reserved for the few but rights upheld for all. The powerful message is clear: no matter your status, I'd 6. Aftermath and public reaction. The incident quickly caught fire across social media platforms and news outlets, sparking widespread outrage and intense conversations about respect, racial justice, and power dynamics in workplace environments. Videos and first-hand accounts circulated, amplifying public awareness of how even the most successful Black women face blatant disrespect rooted in racial bias. Support poured in from activists, celebrities, business leaders, and everyday people who praised the woman's poise and courage. Many used the moment to highlight ongoing issues of discrimination in service industries and called for systemic change to ensure dignity for all customers and employees alike. Hashtags promoting workplace respect and anti-racism trended, and forums buzzed with debates on how organizations can better train staff and hold offenders accountable. Amid the public storm, the billionaire herself shared thoughtful reflections. She emphasized that while the incident was painful, it underscored why leadership matters, not just in business success but in standing firmly against injustice. She spoke about the importance of using her platform to advocate for change, pushing for environments where respect transcends race and status. Her message resonated deeply. Empowerment includes demanding accountability and transforming negative experiences into catalysts for progress. The episode also sparked internal reviews among luxury service providers, many pledging to improve diversity training and customer relations policies. Ultimately, the aftermath reaffirmed that one person's strength and leadership could challenge entrenched biases and inspire a broader cultural shift toward equity and respect. This story is a powerful reminder of the dignity and justice every person deserves, regardless of race, status, or circumstance. The Black billionaire's calm yet unwavering stand showed that true power lies in owning your voice and refusing to accept disrespect or discrimination. Her leadership teaches us that courage isn't just about success, it's about demanding fairness and respect in every space we occupy. We all have a role in challenging bias whenever we see it, whether subtle or overt. It's essential to call out injustice, support those targeted, and insist on environments where everyone is treated with the dignity they deserve. Change starts with awareness, but it grows through action, from individuals, communities, and organizations committed to fairness and accountability. Let this story inspire you to stand tall against discrimination, no matter the setting. Remember, leadership is not just about titles or wealth. It's about integrity, courage, and owning your space with confidence. When we refuse to be invisible or silenced, we create a world where respect is the norm, not the exception. Together, by speaking up and holding systems accountable, we can build a future where everyone, especially those who have been overlooked or marginalized, can thrive with pride and safety. Your voice matters. Your strength matters. And with each act of courage, we move closer to a just and inclusive society where dignity is a right, not a privilege.